Well, hello people, and welcome back to part 18 of Yoakley, our vanilla Cities 2 build. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Last episode, we established the favourite town of Sunnyside Lakes, of course, which features the magnificent Sunny Dam, some beaches, and some really nice waterfront action. It's a really nice town to build, lots of fun around here, isn't there? Lots of nice sight lines, busy train stations, etc. Oh, here we go. Hopefully, a wave of ants. It's not the busiest it's ever been, but still nice to see nonetheless. As our train infrastructure takes people, of course, back to Benedict from here. But today, we're going to start building up some utility infrastructure. Not really done any of this since the port. And because we built the dam last episode, I would like this dam to actually work, serve a purpose, you know, for it to be either using the power it creates or exporting it to a larger power center, which will then be exported off map to make us quite a lot of money. So we'll start out with an interchange. So we had this road here last episode. That currently doesn't go anywhere. And I'd like to hook it in to here. That's going to be a few tiles, 4 of them to be precise. And we're probably going to open up a few more by the end of today as well, I reckon. And maybe these 2 as well. Cool. So we'll grab them. Now the next interchange along the National Road, I would like to appear... See, we've got this diverging diamond just down here. Let's throw our topography. So I'm envisioning maybe another interchange that bridges this gorge here in a pretty impressive style to come down the hill in most likely a switchback fashion given the terrain we have to link up with these networks here. Okay, and then off of this road that comes out of Sunnyside, we will have our major massive power station here. So let's upgrade this to coupler anyway. Super. That gives us the couplet road coming out here. And then with our road here, I would like this to probably fall away to be high-speed national road at some point. So let's downgrade to that here. And then what sort of height differentiation we're playing with here? It's a real challenge, the terrain on this map. Bring it over here. So that's how much we've got to clear. So that's not too bad. So let's bring our bridge over. We'll have it just so we get the pillar in the middle. That's going to be quite tasty, isn't it? Perfect. You can come back down to earth on as little a gradient as possible. 0.2 seems okay. Now I'm planning to bring a bridge across this gorge. So what we will do is manipulate the terrain here. And just begin to create this landmass. We'll make it look a bit more natural than this, don't worry. And then another tile. Hopefully this isn't going to destroy the tile upkeep budget. We'll wait and see. So the gorge sort of begins here, doesn't it? And then it lands back there at that terrain height already. A little bit lower gets us to 0.1 gradient, which I think I'm happy with. And now we can hook that in. That should be a little more sensible, I think, shouldn't it? The more I see this now, the more I think it's maybe better to have the national road function as the bridge instead of the one over, since we're already... I mean, how far off the terrain height is this against the road? Let's just check it here. It's actually not too deep, so I think we'll probably go with that instead then. Let's do that. This should also equalize out pretty well with the national road. Yeah, it's much shorter, isn't it? We've only got that much difference to clear now between this road and the eventual interchange road. So that should be okay. So let's begin to configure our ramps. I think we'll stick a roundabout in here. Quite an important one considering this is a, well, will be a pretty important interchange. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with that. We'll be Bit of an awkward turnaround there and some jank to sort out, but at least it worked. Really is some of the more challenging interchange systems we've built across either CS game, I think, in the Yoti map. There's a ton of little layers to mess about with here. So let's begin to add our slip lanes in here. I think we'll do... let's do a couple of bridge segments. And then we'll have a single ramp that just peels off. We'll go for a perfect 96 degrees there. And then we'll mimic these ramps as they come up. And then that one can just flick off quite nicely. We'll also create that extra third lane for that ramp to merge back into. It's probably easier to do it from this side, actually. Everyone can come in. Hopefully nice and happy. Now with this one here, is it going to be better, actually, to build... yeah, I think it is. I think we'll build our own roundabout with the highway roads rather than use that one. I think we're just going to get a bit more configurable space, aren't we? Let's do 40-meter roundabout every time. And then from this, we should be able to have a little bit more fun, I think. Just a bit more configurable. Really do love the CS2 highway roads. And then we'll do the same again this side as well. And pretty much on all sides, really. So eventually merge these lanes back into single networks. But while we're looking for more design on the roundabout, we can do some more interesting things, I think. Same coming from here. I'd love to thread these little slip lanes between the pillar, if that's going to work. Looks like it will. With this area here, I'd quite like to have this hooked into some utility service, maybe a future road maintenance depot. We can include highway side. I think might be quite nice. Let's prepare the land for that. I think we'll do quite just a little bit lower than the road. That contour line there is pretty perfect, isn't it? Also, little space for some industrial zoning as well. Try and keep it away from the population. We'll grab our road maintenance depot. See if we can align the building somewhat nicely against the road. Like seeing the service vehicles parked up there. And then we'll stick a road onto this. Let's make a tiny little roundabout with another node here. And then we'll introduce our highway roads straight into that. Something not too dissimilar. And then this can be expanded at will as and when we decide we need more highway service. Bit of industrial zoning I think might go nicely here. We'll zone in and see what happens. Of course there's no historicalization yet, so there's little control over what appears here. But we'll give it a go. Cool. We've still got death issues. We do have death issues still. The flooding's slowly subsiding. This suburb is very nearly not flooded now. It is very gradually calming down. I mean, you've still not got all hearses out. I think it's just a bit of a death wave, is it? I guess there's only a few of them. Compared to 86,000 people. We'll have to deal with the smell of death for a little bit, I'm afraid. Now we have that interchange there. Let's begin to map out this slope that's going to come around this hill. We can definitely hook these roads together here as well today. Know the terrain police might not be overly happy with this work, but as always, bear with it. Bear with any massive terrain work. It is kind of giving us some new hills actually as we form new valleys. So I can begin to appreciate it. And this road here, as we hook into the national road, let's create the slope from this way. There we go. Actually works out quite nicely that one, doesn't it? Super, that gives us space for the road, and now these final interchange ramps. Let's have this one curve out and over. And then I'll probably downgrade that into 2-lane once it heads into the country away from the interchange, but we'll stick with 4-lane for some hot lane maths. And then here we'll do what we did the other side. Can't get 2 there, can we? That's okay, we can help that though. Let's just create a new a new node there, so we can just upgrade back to that point. There we go. That does lose us our road, but easily replaced. And then change our directions. Fantastic. Let's get these on and off ramps configured here. Super. So that gives us a functioning interchange. We've also got more national road infrastructure. Easily one of my favourite things to do in Cities 2 is just setting up national roads. It's just so much fun. Now we've got quite a big valley here, so some more terraforming likely required down the line. But it does give more functionality to the highway system, and of course, also will allow us access down into here in the distant future as well. So now we need to decide a point for our power plant. I want this to be quite a prominent bit of infrastructure, visible from, I mean, if it's going up here, it's going to be visible from all of the city, isn't it? Which I wouldn't mind if we were to get down in the transit hub. We can already see the towers over there, can't we, from the industry? That little pollution tower. So how about in the orbit of that then? Maybe using that bit of land, or that ramp that we've just created, maybe right here. We're on a big slope though. We're going to need to terraform to accommodate a power plant here. And maybe even slightly recess down from the highway. Maybe 2 or 3 more contour lines. Something like this, I think. Let's flatten out a massive space for it because we're going to need it. These are big assets. This should also be a really kind of bit of impressive infrastructure from this new truss arch bridge as well. So let's dive into our technology tree and we'll unlock pretty much all the power nodes. We'll take the geothermal plant, coal, solar and nuclear. We probably won't end up using all of them, but we'll see. So the geothermal plant, it wants underground water, doesn't it? Which there is an enormous amount of in the valley, but there's not a chance we're getting it in there. It begins to produce electricity here, so we can almost just get it within... Yeah, then again, it really, for max efficiency, it really wants it in the dark blue, doesn't it? There's not a ton of underground water deposits where we could use this one. Maybe we'll have to omit the geothermal plant then. Just because it works with underground water deposits. If we did place it here, how does it look? It's obviously got a very harsh terrain edge to it, but... it's things that can be blended in. I think I'm trying to force it though. We'll save that for another time, alright? So first of all, the visual of the power plant, or something I want to create to help the dam actually function, is to have these big, chunky, long-distance, high-voltage power lines that run to the main power plant. So the dam can not only store its power here, but then add it to the fast battery reserves, which will be present here. The visual of pylons via highway is going to be quite a cool bit of the build. So I think the coal, I might get a single coal plant in here, but they're obviously super pollutive. And the wind is blowing directly over Sunnyside, of course. But I think this might be a bit too big. I do like these assets, they're obviously very impressive. But I think it's just a bit too big for the vibe that Yoakley has. It's the cooling towers, I think. So I think we might go with a couple of gas plants instead, you know? A bit more discreet, and we can possibly use 2 of them. What are the upgrades on this? We have another one there. Advanced furnace. So there's only one of the upgrades that extends the footprint, these little gas silos. That's okay. And then maybe 2 of them as a fusing of vanilla assets. Gives us that larger highway side infrastructure, doesn't it? So we'll keep this entrance into the power plant, the little roundabout with highway roads. And then let's have our first power plant right by the entrance here. And all the power that's produced from these, I think I'd like to send it into a big batch of battery stations, which should be quite a cool visual, I think. So right into the corner here. I'm going to save a little bit of room around the edge of it, I think, just for some alleyway roads. Gives it a bit of a border, doesn't it? There's also some connections around the back there too that want to be plugged in. Well, that's actually where the front connection is, isn't it? Well, that's fine. And then we'll move that one down, and because we've already got the road here, we can send that straight up, and then with the road snapping back on. Might do some retaining wall action here with the cut and fill, really just to give the power plants a bit more of a foundational support, I think. That looks so cool already from the bridge, doesn't it? Something I really do enjoy about CS2 is just the chunk of the infrastructure. Power plants and garbage recycling, water treatment is all so much bigger than CS1. It's quite a lot of fun. Let's bring the road out. We'll obviously need to have that accessed. Next up, I want the battery stations. So how are you configured? We've got a high voltage coming in the back, so that's going to need to come out the power plants. And then low voltage is out the front. Isn't that annoying? That they're not lined up on the same side. That's okay though. I think we'll piece one here. Will you still connect in at that angle? You should do. No, you do want a little bit of breathing space, don't you? That's okay. Let's bring this out here, and we'll actually use the roads to align it, because we've not got to move it for perfect 90-degree rotations. We can just do this. Let's bring this road out, and then we'll grab our battery station. And you will save 3 tiles in between. We'll run the high voltage line out of the power plants to look something like that. And then you will connect in on little 90-degree angles, which should be okay. Yeah, these are starting to charge now. Wonderful. And I suppose we can repeat this battery aesthetic as many times as we like. Have another one there, just as an extension of the footprint of that power plant, doesn't it? And then we could even go for the double visual, have 4 batteries here, just storing and eventually exporting an enormous amount of power. No, not a huge fan of the sideways orientation. It looks really weird when all the other ones are the right way. We'll worry about terrain in our detail and time-lapse. I'm aware it's very janky at the minute, just bear with it. And then all these guys actually want to be flipped the opposite way, don't they? Because we want the power outputs on the back. Cool, that actually saved us a little bit more room on the edge of the cliff there as well, having them sat like this. Cool, and all those pylons. I think just to make this look like a bit of a rough and ready workers space, obviously maybe, you know, power engineers are walking in this little alleyway here to administrate transformers and stuff like that. We can begin to have some fun with textures across the power plant, which already just from this view just looks so power related, doesn't it? Which is really cool. Really like that. Of course, hugely important visual today is the high voltage lines. You're going to come out and straight across the highway. That connects the dam into the batteries, which means it's now functional, which is great. And then for this, the nearest export. How awkward is this going to be? Can we run it this side? We very nearly will clear the buildings. I'm willing to lose a bit of industrial zoning for that. And then these just straight across and all the way to the outside connection, which I can't go through the power line, can I? No. They should really do that. Allow you to go through the tile boundaries with power lines, so you don't have to get the tile just to export, but I suppose that makes it very easy, doesn't it? And wonderful. We should now be exporting a lot of the power that we won't be using because Euclid's in a pretty good surplus. We're also losing money now as well. Only 12 grand though, that'll bounce back. Just because we've placed all this expensive stuff. How about also sewage works? Yeah, we're very nearly in the need of sewage as well. So we've got the Japanese water treatment plant. In terms of capacity, it's identical to the big one. Or maybe this is a good chance for the advanced water treatment plant in that case then. If we can find it. Do we not have it? Oh, it's a unique, is it? Oh, I had no idea. Okay, no, we're not using that then. Yeah, if the Japanese water treatment plants fits and sits, I'm quite happy to have it as part of this infrastructure. Let's go for something like that. And then with the upgrades here, we certainly won't need them whenever we want to. Then again, that's 40 grand upkeep, isn't it? Yeah, these are really expensive upgrades on the gas turbines. Which is fine. Whenever we hit the power cap, which won't be for a very long time, we can come back and just increase the capacity of the power plant. I'll be happy with that, I think. And of course, let's actually get this hooked in with a road, so workers can arrive here. We'll send this one down. We'll have lots more industrial zone in here. We don't have a ton of industry in the city. So every time we come to do these sort of utility builds, I'm happy to feature a fair amount of industrial zoning, I think. Let's have a little roundabout here at the entrance too. Fantastic. And then that's going to feel like a healthy point, I think, for some detailing. As we wrap up all the borders, some retaining wall action too. Loads of national road detailing to do all the way back to Sunnyside. And then some, well, a lot of terraforming and other little detailing bits and pieces to do with some more industrial zoning too. To bring in the first kind of modular power plant for Euclid. Which is a lot of fun. This hill's really steep here as well, isn't it? That needs to be regraded. And that's also kind of warped a bit there as well, hasn't it? I'll sort that out. But at least detail up Euclid's new national roads and major power centre. And then we'll be right back. Right guys, that'll do it for today. I also forgot to connect in one of the power lines, so instead we've connected this underground via a transformer that's now present on the facility as well. Added in a fire station for obvious safety reasons, and some little tool sheds by the inner power lines heading out almost as maintenance. There's some big spools of wire here, so maybe you can imagine the people that maintain this facility are using it as outdoor tool sheds. Nice way to use some of the vanilla props, I think. A massive shout out to the YouTube members and patrons that support these videos, with a shout out to the beautiful human beings with fantastic character, the Golden Egg patrons, Bad Wolf, Casino, Great Z, Jamin, Louis Adlam, Michael W, Phoenix MD, and Spartan Angel. If you want to get involved with that, link's below, otherwise I'll shut up and leave it there. Enjoy the cinematics and I'll see you next time. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day.